morning sun, dreams unfold. Whistles the wind, stories untold. From Massachusetts, land of old, to Ohio's heart, where tales are bold. Family hugs, packed and gone, chasing horizons, chasing dawn. Winding roads we journey on, new beginnings, new songs spawn. From Mass to Ohio, hearts of fear break, breaking chains, our path is clear. From Mass to Olean, dreams take flight into the darkness, embrace the night. Peaceful scenes, sunsets glowed, birds chirp aloud, rivers flowed. Fields of wildflowers, destiny showed, but shadows loom as chaos grows. Steel and fire, tombs turn dark, mighty sounds ignite the spark. Brutal riffs like wolfpack bark, Ohio calls, leave your mark. From Mass to Ohio, hearts of fear break, breaking chains, our path is clear. From Mass to Olean, dreams take flight into the darkness, embrace the night. From Mass to Ohio, hearts in fear break, breaking chains, our path is clear. From Mass to Olean, dreams take flight into the darkness, embrace the night.
Every girl I've been with so crazy. Late at night got me thinking like maybe I'm the one with bad judgment. I'll never find love and I need a superhero come save me. Thought the good girls were long gone, stuck in a cycle that goes on and on. I was thinking they were all the same, but one girl showed me I was all wrong. Cause that's when
Oh boy, Alex, how are we doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back to another week of the shenanigans. And I think the game plan for tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, we definitely didn't just go over this 5 minutes ago. We planned. I like the Xavier shirt, sir.
Love that.
I don't know, it feels pretty contradictory to be wearing a Flying Pig Marathon shirt and then just straight up drinking a 2-liter bottle of cherry Pepsi.
It's zero sugar, so you're fine.
It's fine. It's healthy.
It's in the training regimen.
Speaking of the training regimen, I actually my first run for the towards the 2025 Flying Pig Marathon's actually set for tomorrow. Like, I'm actually going to train this year. I'm going to do something I didn't do the last 2 years.
Where we start? What's the starting distance? Like 3-4
Um,
miles. And
ooh.
your speed of build.
I'm gonna try to run a 5K at minimum tomorrow.
So
So that's what 1/8 of a marathon is what a 5K works out to be if I mathed correctly, right? Because it's 40K is a marathon.
yeah, it should be just over 3 miles. Yeah, about 5 miles. Well under.
3.5 is a 5K. I don't know. They didn't teach me the metric system in school.
We're not good at that.
No, I'm a salesman for a reason. But I think that's kind of where we'll start. Like, just a recap of who we are. I think we've been doing this long enough now that we probably forgotten if we've mentioned it or not. So we're going to mention it anyway. And for once, Alex, I'm going to let you have the floor first.
I'm honored to introduce the fact that I got my start in the sports business within the IFL ranks. Glad to have had that opportunity now that I'm looking back on it. But, I handle all of our video and a lot of our social. I'm just freelancing with different athletes that I've been having the privilege to work with. So I'm looking to get back into a similar capacity. We just got to do this to help ourselves get our names out there on top of that.
No, of course. And I mean, sorry, weird. That amount of caffeine going into you, soda specifically, the burping is coming out. But so I got my start pre-COVID. I'm like you. But that's just the age gap thing. I worked in the ECHL. I was a salesman for 9 months, and then that team did unfortunately fold in May of 2019. And then I shopped around for jobs. Nothing came of it. And I actually also landed at the same IFL team as you. That's obviously where you and I met. And then about 9 months after that, I landed the job here in Cincinnati, also in the ECHL. And I've been a salesman. I've loved hockey, so I really, that was my goal, was to always get back to hockey at the very least. I wanted to get to the ECHL again. I would have been happy if an SPHL job had come up, or even an AHL or NHL job in the sales world, because I think it's incredibly fun. And the best part about working in sports is the memories I'm helping people make. Not making for people, but I'm helping people make. A great segue to this is I actually had one of my groups that I've worked with since day one in Cincinnati. And the woman that I work with directly, she was talking to me today about how her girls always have a great time getting to come out on the ice and do figure skating during one of the intermissions. And I was like, I told her how great her club is, and she told me, unfortunately, it's gonna be the last year. She's gonna be the person I'm dealing with or working with. She said it's dealing with. I like to think it's working with, because it's not something I have to deal with. It's something I get to do, and I'm that mindset. That mindset is the best part about being able to work in sports. It's not I have to do this. It's I get to do this. I get to talk to people about sports. I talk to people on the phone about hockey. My job is to talk to people about hockey. And if you can't tell me that's not one of the coolest jobs in the world. I talk about sports all day, every day. That's what they pay me to do. And of course, I'm trying to get you to come out to games. I'm trying to sell the building. I'm trying to sell our brand. I'm trying to sell, to put money in my pocket, put money in the company's pocket. But at the end of the day, when I boil it down, I'm talking to people about hockey. What's the affiliation going to look like? What's my opinions of it? My opinion, super positive towards our current affiliate. Because I saw what they did with their previous affiliate in Manchester when the team would come into Manchester and just absolutely wipe the floor with us. And I've been nothing but hopeful since. When they announced the affiliation with the Leafs, I was over the moon. I was so amped to be like, yes, they are a team that does a lot at the ECHL level. They put a lot of resources in, at least they did a few years ago. And I'm hoping that they still will. now that we would be the benefactor of that. But that's the thing with this industry. I think it's you look at everything so differently. Like I can tell you with all honesty, I watched exactly 0 seconds of football this week. Like I was just busy, and I'm not the biggest football fan in the world. I know, super hot take, but I was busy this weekend. NHL 25 came out. That's really what I was busy playing. I was busy playing NHL 25. But I had no like desire. Like I checked the scores, I checked my fantasy team, but I wasn't too worried about like. I'm a Browns fan. I'm not super amped up about this current season. And I think I've really been this way. You've known me for long enough now. I'm a pretty big Browns fan, but since Deshaun Watson's come to the team, my fandom has waned just a little bit, and it's just my disdain for Deshaun Watson and the things he allegedly did off the field that I'm not happy about, and I would love for him to be gone. And that's just what I'm hoping, is that eventually, when his contract's up, everyone in the Browns organization says thanks but no thanks on re-signing. And they can either bring in a young kid, bring back Baker Mayfield, which is the ideal situation. Bring back Baker Mayfield, please. Everyone would like that. I think everyone in the football world would like that. What a redemption arc that would be if Baker Mayfield wound up being the guy to bring the Browns a Super Bowl. After having been on multiple different teams since being drafted by the Browns. I think it'd be so cool.
That's after Justin Fields brings home number 7. But
so here's the thing, right, Alex? The Steelers have started off very well this year. I'm pleasantly surprised because I did go on the record as saying it's going to be a very tough 6-10 season for the 7-10 season for the Steelers. Or I said 6-11. Regardless, it was a below 500 season. Was the
it was non-existent with Mike Tomlin around.
I know, that's why it's going to be very tough if it happens, because it's never happened.
But it won't. It'll be fun.
But here's the thing: if my 6-11 or 7-10 season prediction comes true, it'll be an all-time flameout. Because you're what? Steelers are 4-0 currently, correct?
3-1.
Oh, good. So they're already trending in the right direction. For everyone that's not a Steelers fan. I mean, what else happened this week in the NFL? The Bengals picked up their first win. They played the Panthers. Who are the Panthers the worst team in the NFL, in your opinion? Honestly, as he's turned away, I clearly was not looking at my camera or screen for him to see that he was turned away.
Genuinely, yeah, they're pretty bad.
So, are they worse than the New England Patriots, though?
It's
a hard call.
I'm gonna say no. Honestly,
I think it'll also come down to seeing who gets that second, because the Panthers are winless currently, right?
No, they beat Vegas last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So both teams have at least one win.
No, it's just the Patriots don't have. The Panthers have more weaponry than the Patriots do.
No computer. Don't want to restart.
They made the quarterback change probably at the more opportune time, because the Patriots are going to be sitting their rookie quarterback and probably till the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a move though, and this is a take I had about. Again, we'll take it to the world I know, hockey. A take I've had about hockey, and I mean, I realize football doesn't really have a minor league. Yes, the UFL exists. Yes, the arena leagues exist.
That's probably the closest it's going to get until until somebody forms the official pipeline. That's kind of how it's going to.
And obviously, the CFL exists as well. But with it all being unaffiliated, I have this take about hockey. I've said it. I think every guy coming into the NHL, I don't care how highly touted you are as a prospect. You need to start your career, or you should start your career for the first 5 games. Just to hit one road trip in the AHL or ECHL. Like play in the. I think you should have to play in the minors for just a short span right before you can start your career fully in the NHL, so you can kind of have an adjustment period to go from either your Canadian juniors, American juniors, in some cases American high school or Canadian high school, or D1 college. You can kind of fill that gap because the speed and skill from all those top pipelines to the actual NHL is so big. It's such a huge gap, and I think forcing players to play a little bit of time in minor leagues will help help confidence. Obviously, there's exceptions. McDavid, Bedard, all those kind of guys, I think, would be exceptions.
Those once in a generation guys.
Once every 5-10 years, you might have one guy that's like, well, this would be a waste of his talents. But at the same time, it might not be a waste of his talents because, Bedard got hurt quite a bit last year. McDavid has had injury problems off and on throughout his career, especially for the North American side of hockey, where you're not necessarily playing against whole ass men. Like D1 college, they start their freshmen at 21 typically, or in a lot of cases, I can't say typically, but in a lot of cases,
or if you're Alabama football, you have a 17-year-old wide receiver.
Well, exactly. So kind of that Alabama receiver kind of is like the exception that proves the rule, right?
Yeah.
But
I think the whole true freshman concept is kind of
I think
kind of the exception of that.
I was going to say college football has my favorite example, the red shirt, right? Like you'll have practiced a year before you play, typically.
Or even sometimes it's injury related too, because you can get injured in camp and they'll give you the extra year. So if you sometimes people use that for academic reasons, and then so they can still play in the extra year, but also achieve the academic goals. But
no, I get that, but my point remains, right? Like college football has found that thing because the pace of play from high school to college is that big of a gap, right?
And then from the SEC to the NFL is probably a bigger jump.
Oh,
than that.
well, so that was the point I was basically making. You made it for me, but it's the having the minor leagues and being forced through the minor leagues a little bit. Baseball does the best with it. How many guys actually come out of high school or college, wherever, or the Dominican, or wherever? I guess the Caribbean's a better example for that region, or Japan even, and they jump right to the MLB. It's such a small number. Most of them wind up playing some AA or AAA ball at the very least, at least for a little while.
I think the older college guys, they always start up in AA too. So that's where you saw Paul Skeens start.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Skeens was playing for Indy this year.
Yeah,
earlier in the year, and I love that because you know what? I think it's good for the minor league team because hey, this future star, he's going to be here at the beginning. And you're going to see him at the beginning of the year. And you know that he'll be doing his rehab stuff here. Or potentially doing his rehab stuff here. So I think that's another very valuable point to my point of, I think you kind of want to sort of force. And again, I understand a lot of it has to come down with contracts and how they're structured and how pay comes up and everything. But I think starting in a minor league is not necessarily mean you're not good at the sport or even super elite. I think if you're playing in a minor league, you may still be one of the best. You just haven't developed the necessary confidence required to be at that top level. In a lot of cases.
I always hear it's more so with baseball. You hear sometimes teams are waiting. Call up those guys because there's certain. I think every top prospect
MLB
is
has such
checklist.
Weird. Every MLB team also has the service time stuff for MLB is completely a completely other.
No, I'm leaving that out though. That's the thing is I'm leaving the service time manipulation out of that. That's a conversation for another day but
we could probably go for 3 hours.
I think why I took Skeens that long to come up was that I think I heard somewhere that they were waiting for him to clear some benchmarks before he made it. But it's like I think he was only doing 3-inning outings in AAA before they called him up.
That's wild to me to think that he was only throwing for 3 innings. Like a guy like that throwing just 3 innings
But
feels like a waste.
yeah, but it's like if you're having him do that, you might as well just let him break camp at that point.
Why don't you send him just to the MLB? Just be a bullpen arm at that point, though. You know.
No, he would have started opening day.
No, I know, but if you're going to have him doing 3-inning outings, if he's going to do 3-inning outings, why don't you have him out of the bullpen? Like, I feel like that's more valuable. But I think it was a confidence thing, if you want me to be honest.
Yeah. Now, I think, again, going from AA to AAA, you still have that learning curve because you look at a AAA roster, right? You have kind of each level you go up, you have more guys that have MLB service time. So with AAA kind of being that kind of plateau of that, where like half the roster is going to be guys that are those first guys who get called up should the big league club need an arm or a bat or something.
It's really kind of an extension of the 40-man roster.
It's a taxi squad for the 40-man.
Yeah, so actually the NHL implementing a taxi squad type mentality. I'm loving the taxi squad in hockey because it's kind of I realized that they implemented it as a COVID thing. Like actually that's why it exists. Or it existed.
But it's like
but it was great because you had guys I'll use an example. He was a defenseman from Vancouver, now plays for Buffalo. Jack Rathbone. He plays for the Rochester Americans for most of his time, but he kind of sat on Vancouver when he came out of college, Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Vancouver had him kind of in like that taxi squad, and he'd be up for a little bit and down for a little bit. And I actually have one of his first cards. Good Massachusetts burn boy. He's from West Roxbury, in case you care.
I feel like with how the minor league structure for baseball, like it just makes more sense too. Like I think because I don't follow hockey as much as you do, so you obviously have more of the knowledge on it. But from what I understand, you guys don't move players up and down a whole lot. It's kind of per diem at that point, or am I totally mixing that up?
So you on the surface, I'd say you'd be like, as the average human looking at it, you'd be correct. But guys, especially, basically, there's like 2 contract structures that exist in hockey, to my knowledge. Again, I don't sign contracts. I don't work with player contracts, so this is kind of from the outside looking in. But with the example of like a mall with a store that's opening and they have the lights on the inside, so you can kind of see the store set up. But I don't work in the store.
Yeah.
I just happen to be able to get closer to the store than the average person because I work in that mall, for example. But you kind of have your 2-way contracts and your 1-way contract. Basically, 1-way contract, you're at whatever level. 2-way, you can go up or down. Hence, 2-way, 1-way. And the NHL has them, the AHL has them, the ECHL has them. Basically, 1-ways are no move level-wise, and 2-ways are you can move levels. And then there's waiver stuff involved with it, but specifically with how you get 1-ways to move. But so like, especially with the taxi squad, guys aren't moving a whole lot because like they're probably know where they're gonna be by like the AHL's training camp or the NHL's training camp's starting to wrap up. The AHL's training camp's kind of in the middle. The ECHL's training camps kick off on Monday. So, like hockey starts Tuesday, but Monday the ECHL's training camp starts fully. I mean, I think between the 8th and the 10th is when training camps start at that level. But based on what I was just reading from the league's website. But so guys
You use sources on this podcast.
guys do move. Guys move quite a bit, but like you only really move to your affiliate, and it's really your AHL and ECHL. I feel like have a lot more movement because that's when you're in the development. Like, and guys don't necessarily move to the affiliate, like, because your contract can be bought, which is super awkward. Like a guy on an ECHL contract can be bought up by an AHL team. And especially now with the AHL and NHL being both at 32, the ECHL is lagging behind. There's only 29 teams. But when you have the fully affiliates, like AHL contracts aren't getting bought by NHL teams for the most part. You're going to have your one-way waivers. Those are the guys that are getting their contracts bought and sent down anyway. But guys do move, and it's not... It's probably as frequent as baseball. It's just there's less people that are moving. Like if you look at the transactions page on any given day, you'll see 10, 15 people added or deleted. At least league-wide.
It's definitely not as active as like the IFL transaction wire.
Well, so like,
that was a daily
well,
move.
so it's pretty active because since hockey plays every day, like the Jackets could play on a Monday, the Cleveland Monsters could play on a Tuesday, and the dude could play in both those games.
Yeah,
but again, you have like I want to say your NHL roster can carry 25, and you can have 20 dressed. So I mean, you have 5 guys that are already ready without having to make any movement. So if you have short-term IR situations or like team suspensions where the IFL, they are signing a new guy because there's no dude that's just sitting there for most of those teams because they can't afford it. Like there's no point in paying that. And baseball is the same thing. Hockey, you'll get your PTOs and ATOs, but I think the movement's pretty similar to like baseball. I think just with baseball the way it is and the fact that guys do start in the minor leagues, especially higher profile players, you notice it more.
Yeah.
Because like this winter, watch the league's waivers, the waiver wire and or not necessarily the waiver wire, but the sorry, that was fantasy football comment. Watch the transactions pages for the AHL, NHL, ECHL, and you'll be surprised how much movement there is on a daily. Like for example, news transactions. We'll go to the 23-24 season, and we will do May. No, I don't want May transactions. Can you show? Can I get older transactions? Because like, oh, here's a good one. On the 11th of April, the Adirondack Thunder, affiliate of the New Jersey Devils, loaned Ryan Smith to the Springfield Thunderbirds of the AHL. So you'll see recalls, loans. Some dudes get reassigned by the NHL club. You have an e-bug here, which is super funny that e-bugs wind up on the transaction page. But released from contracts, signed contracts, reassigned. So, I mean, the April 11th transactions start here, and that's still the regular season. That's partly why I wanted it.
Yeah.
They start here, and there are, granted this is the end of the season, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16, 17, 18. There's 18 people that moved on the 11th of April, which was a random Thursday. So, I think there is the movement, but I think with baseball having those higher profile players, you notice as a more casual fan, you'll notice the movement much better, if that makes sense.
See what else we got going on.
I think we.
The Astros got eliminated today.
They did. I saw that the MLB The Show tweeted tiger emojis, so I assume the Tigers had won. I would have liked. I guess honestly, we should talk about postseason baseball.
Yeah, I'm trying to get let's get the scores up. I know the Orioles game should be long over by now.
Kansas City.
The Royals moved on. All right. I'm actually kind of glad. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I am kind of glad that the two younger teams have actually moved on. Like with it's how
the Mets are winning right now.
All right, I had a pretty big ticket on the Braves game anyway.
All right, so actually, they updated it already. Really, Cleveland's gonna play. I thought that they were gonna. I thought they received after the wild card.
No, I think. No, that makes sense. It's not like the NFL where they go lowest seed goes high.
Hey, I assumed they reseeded.
No, I think they designate who goes where.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yankees number 1 seed will face winner of Orioles Royals. That actually. So, I wanted Houston to win because I wanted the Yankees to play the winner of the Kansas City Baltimore series, and based on reseeding, Houston was the 3 seed, so they would have been given to Cleveland. But
are you shocked by how that played out?
A little
bit. Round?
So I'll say this, and I think this is a pretty fair assumption. I'm shocked by sweeps. Like, in best of 3 series, not as much. But I still don't expect to see a sweep anytime I turn on a series for like any sport.
Honestly,
best of 3 is a little bit easier.
I think for basketball, like if you're watching the NBA playoffs, like you can tell which teams are going to cruise.
Typically,
it's like since baseball is so much more unpredictable. Like
I would say, I feel like if we were to rank like the unpredictability of the playoffs, and we're going to go with just the playoffs because the regular season's unpredictable for all sports for the most part. I think
here's what I think, right? And this goes for
professional sports,
any sport, right? And it's about, you always see it referred to with baseball, where it's the hottest teams for like the last 6 weeks or so of the season are the ones that are gonna kind of wreck the playoff structure. And that's what the Tigers are doing. That's what the Mets are doing.
Fair.
And then, see, the only series that I think is actually might run the course could be Atlanta-San Diego, but that's if San Diego just chokes. But weirder things have happened, so I'm not complaining.
But so my point about predictability, like I don't ever predict a team to win. Well, winning 2 straight's a little bit easier than in a best of 7 series. And again, I know the NFL doesn't play a best of 7. I know they only play 1 game for the playoffs, which I hate, by the way. I understand why they do it, but I hate it. I wish that we had playoff series in the NFL. I think that'd be awesome. How good would those games be, honestly?
What, if the NFL did best of 7?
No, NFL best of 3. I'd like to see best of 3 in the NFL, at least for like the championship. Like the Super Bowl as a best of 3 series would be great.
That'd be something.
I think it'd be great. It will never happen, but
all right. So I think realistically, and I think you can carry this into the whole 6 weeks into the playoffs. Kind of however you played those 6 weeks kind of, I think, carries the most weight out of most sports, and I think it's the sports that play multiple times a week. So I'm gonna leave the NFL out of it, but like baseball, hockey, and basketball, those teams that play that 6 week stretch the best, and they're typically the ones that end up sneaking in to the playoffs. Those are the ones that are going to be playing because they know how much those games count. So it's like when the Panthers made that cup run, what was it, 3 years ago?
So the Panthers won this past year, and then it was actually last year.
So 2 years. So 2 years ago,
they went to the cup 2 years straight, and I mean,
yeah. So the first of their two. So that was when they were like the lowest seed going into that cup.
yeah, and I mean,
When they lost.
the best example of it is the 2019 St. Louis Blues. I know
Yeah.
most of my Bruins friends hate that I bring that up, but on January 1st, they were the worst team in the NHL at the time. Like they were sitting pretty for the draft lottery on January 1st of 2019. And they had an unbelievable run. Squeak into the playoffs. I mean, make the playoffs. I think they did squeak into the playoffs because they were just that far down when the run started. And then they take the Boston Bruins, who are arguably one of the best teams in hockey. I hate to say it, especially that year. And they take them to 7 games, which, by the way, the 7th game was on my mom's birthday. And she just wants hockey to be over. Like, that's her thing. She hates the playoffs because my dad will watch every game. So she roots for the playoffs to end. And she's like, I don't care. I know that series is going 7 games, but I would love it to not go 7 games.
So can it not? But
so that's I remember sitting in my living room watching that and being like, holy shit, the Blues are going to win this Stanley Cup. But that's my point of, so going back to my point rather, of most unpredictable to least unpredictable, I think hockey is in fact the most unpredictable sport. Because you have teams like the Blues that are like awful in the first half of the season, just straight up awful, and because of the advantage of the 82 game schedule, they play okay enough in the first half. Again, awful. They make the playoffs, and then they can go on a friggin' tear through the playoffs, and then win the cup. And I mean, contradict the other 82 game season, which is the NBA. I think the NBA is one of the most predictable sports.
yeah, so the Celtics winning the finals was kind of, everybody had that. A lot of people had that written in going into the year, but
I'm pretty sure I told you if whoever won the Celtics Bucks series was going to win the finals.
I think they not the Celtics never played the Bucks last year in the playoffs.
I thought they did. I could be wrong.
I would know.
Literally
I
don't
would
watch
know.
basketball.
So the Bucks lost to the Pacers in the first round last year. They got upset by the Pacers last year in the first round.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
so
because the Celtics played the Pacers. I thought the Bucks had won that series. Regardless,
No,
I thought
but-
whoever won that Eastern Conference Final series was going to win.
but also I was doing some content during that Bucks playoff series, so
I
it's kind of
do
frustrating
know.
after 2 games.
I got that.
2 edits worth of games. But I got in the same tag list as Damian Lillard, so who's the real winner here?
Damian Lillard.
Obviously,
He's
it's not me.
getting paid a lot more money than you, buddy.
He's getting paid way more money than me, so it's fine.
But like, look at these series. Boston won every series 4-1 or 4-0. Like,
Yeah.
there was no competition. Dallas, same thing. They maybe dropped 2 games. The Suns getting shut out. Like, 2 series went 7 games. 3 total
3
series.
total, right?
Yep, the Magic and the Cavaliers, the Knicks and the Pacers,
That,
and
yeah.
the Timberwolves and the Nuggets.
But like, I watched a good chunk of those series, and none of that surprised me. The fact they went 7.
But that's my point. Like, I think it's like I'm looking at the teams and it's like the Clippers is slightly surprising to be in the playoffs, but the Mavericks, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Suns, the Nuggets, the Lakers for the Western Conference, and the Pelicans. Like, for the most part, all those teams are just always good. And then the Eastern Conference side, wow, it's the Sixers and the Knicks and the Bucks and the Cavs and the Heat and the Celtics. The Magic and the Pacers are a little bit of a surprise because they're not as popular teams.
But also, it's just like the NBA always has a couple teams that sneak in, whereas like in hockey and baseball, you have.
But let's
know,
contradict.
There's the chance for more teams to sneak in hockey and baseball. Because you can lock in the top 4 in the NBA on either conference pretty easily compared to any other league.
Also, we're looking at the Stanley Cup now. Dallas and Vegas went 7 games. And then Vancouver and Edmonton won 7 games. And then the final went 7 games. Boston, Toronto went 7 games. So, yeah, only 4 series went 7 games. But there also was only 1 series sweep. And it was the Rangers over the Washington Capitals, who were actually shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Most of the series you get 6 games.
Yeah, but you always get the teams that will always...
The Kings, same thing. Like,
you play percentage points at that point. Like that's what some of these teams are playing. They play the percentage game versus actually like getting... Like the Steelers did that last year. Is that they played the percentage game versus like having something locked in.
So I think... But my point is, if you want to go most like shit show who's going to make it all the way out, especially make it to the playoffs, NHL's at the top, the NBA's at the bottom. I would say, due to the short season, NFL is more unpredictable than the MLB in general. Like when I'm picking teams to make the playoffs. Like there's certain teams that are kind of a lock. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs. They are kind of a lock for the AFC. For the NFC...
It's probably the Eagles and the Niners, but the
Eagles
I don't think the
Niners
Niners this year are.
Both of them have kind of fallen off.
Be.
You know who's going to win the NFC? It's going to be the friggin' Saints. That's my opinion.
Taysom Hill, boy, calm down.
Sir, he had 14 points this week. That's as much as some people's quarterbacks.
I think the Washington Commanders are going to win the Super Bowl, so I'm just going to leave that alone.
Honestly, would you be mad if it was Saints Commanders for the NFC Championship game? I don't think anyone would be mad.
I want the most improbable matchups this year for the playoffs.
I think we're going to get them. I think because our historically good teams are not being great. Because, like, our whole childhood, the New England Patriots were locked to make the playoffs. Like, they missed the playoffs, 4 times?
One of them was because Brady tore his ACL week 1, but
even that, like,
yeah, 3 of those 4 misses were without Brady. So, like, yeah.
But you sent the child my take about.
No,
I assume.
Trying to get him to tap in, but he's not going to tap in.
But that's my point. Like, Washington has shown themselves to be very good this year, and that's fine. That's good, actually. I love seeing new teams that haven't really been stellar making those runs. Like, the Saints were also actually a team that historically was really good at football, and you were like, oh, well, they're probably going to make the playoffs.
It's like you have teams that are always really good, but there's always a buzzsaw. So it's like
I think the most unpredictable division is still the NFC North. I think all the teams are so evenly matched, despite the fact that it's probably the most underwhelming year of the NFC or AFC North rather in a long time.
The fact that honestly nothing about the division surprised me this far.
The Steelers being on top of the AFC North. That surprised me.
That was that even for me. Like when people talk to me about this, like no, they respect what I say about it because like I never said they were gonna be a team that was gonna run away with anything. Like if anything, they'll probably plateau and then they'll probably plummet and then they'll kind of itch back up. But
So currently, as we speak, on the 2nd of October, 2024, the Buffalo Bills are 3-1. The Jets are 2-2. The Pats and the Dolphins are 1-3. Actually, the Dolphins being 1-3 with a negative 58 net points is probably one of the most surprising things to me.
I mean, they have no quarterback, so
But still. And then the AFC North, you have Pittsburgh at 3-1, Baltimore at 2-2, Cleveland at 1-3, and the Bengals at 1-3. Honestly,
like
Bengals and Cleveland have started out just poor.
I think if you like the Ravens and the Steelers had the reverse record. That's what so if you flip the Ravens and the Steelers, everything else would probably check out about the division.
I think Cleveland should be 2-2. They just haven't played. They haven't closed out games.
Yeah.
Actually, what? It's
I
probably
mean,
3 of the 4 weeks they haven't closed out the game.
AFC and South looks about right.
Yeah, Houston at 3-1, Indy at 2-2, Tennessee at 1-3, and Jacksonville with the bagel for wins. And then the AFC West, Kansas City undefeated. The rest of the division is 2-2. We get to the NFC and it gets a little bit strange. The Commanders are 3-1. I'm kind of impressed by that. Dallas being 2-2 surprises me.
They'll be 2-3 this weekend.
Well, I agree, but Philadelphia at 2-2, Giants at 1-3, Vikings still undefeated. Lions at 3-1, Packers 2-2, Bears 2-2.
That division's playing out doesn't surprise me right now.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff isn't. Actually, can we talk about the Falcons being 2-2 with a net negative 10 points?
Because of Taysom, baby.
Honestly, though, the fact that look at the net. Who has the most net points in the NFL? I'm sorting it by net points.
I think it's the Vikings or
The Vikings and the Saints are tied at plus 57. The Saints are 2-2 and have a net plus 57 points. Now, granted, they lost to the Falcons, so that doesn't help.
The Eagles under was definitely the one that killed it.
Mm-hmm. And then the worst team in the league is the Dolphins at negative 58 points. Oof.
If Tua didn't get concussed, that number would probably be way higher.
Oh yeah, I think they still would be net negative for points, but they'd probably be in like the 10 to 15 range. But it's wild to me that the New Orleans Saints are on top of that and they're 2-2. I think it'd be funny if they were like 1-3 and they had the highest net points.
Yeah, but so sometimes it's just how you play it out, honestly.
No, I agree. I think this is the perfect opportunity to look ahead to Week 5, Alex. Going into Week 5, our records are you're 29-19. Over the last 3 weeks, we didn't put Week 1 predictions in, and I'm 23-26. So I'm lagging behind you just a hair. This is, of course, the first week with bye weeks. So Detroit, Philly, Tennessee, and the Chargers are all on the bye. Thursday night, tomorrow evening, we have Tampa Bay and the Falcons. Who you got? What's your rationale for it, buddy?
Ooh. See, I think the Bucks stay pretty hot going into this week. Them beating the Eagles is definitely a big statement for how they're going to play.
So I'm going to agree with you. I hate agreeing with you because I need to win back some games here. But I think Baker is going to...
But you can't go against Baker, though. So
it's so hard to pick up against Baker Mayfield. Saturday, that's a 9:30 a.m. game, right? The Jets and Minnesota. That's got to be over in.
I think it's London. Yeah.
Here, let's look at it.
It's in London. I see the shield.
Oh yeah, look at that. London. I'm gonna say both those guys have to travel a lot. Minnesota does lose an extra hour of life. Or have to jump ahead an hour in life. So I'm actually gonna go out on a limb and say the Jets are gonna win this game. Also, I feel like being 4-0 and going over to Europe has gotta mess with you.
And that's where I'll disagree with you. Because I think the travel is part of it, but they probably traveled. They might have flown over there already. To be totally honest with you.
They've probably been over since Wednesday. Since Wednesday,
They're
today's
probably
Wednesday.
maybe yesterday. Probably yesterday.
I'd assume they left yesterday or tomorrow at the latest.
Yeah, so I'll run Minnesota. I'm gonna ride that hot.
That's fine.
I can't speak.
I really don't think it's gonna be them, but I could be wrong, and I'd be okay being wrong. That's the beauty of this. Carolina and Chicago. I think I'm gonna take the Panthers, and I think that's not as hot of a take as it should be.
No, I think if Bryce Young was still quarterback, it'd be.
If it was Bryce Young, I'd pick.
It'd be way more out there than it is.
I think Andy Dalton's solid. I think we've seen the last few years when you have that, like, it's not weird, but like you have that random veteran quarterback getting those starts. The team is just better.
Also,
And that's
like
kind of
he's
my
never
logic.
dropped off when he's had to start too. So it's like
No, he hasn't. He's been consistent.
But I think I'll
He's been
disagree.
eerily consistent.
I'm gonna ride the Bears. I think they're slowly starting to figure themselves
we definitely
out.
missed some games
I think-
because all these games are because like that game doesn't exist.
No,
Is that the Rams?
it should be the Rams. Yeah.
And then who is Cleveland playing? Because it's not Vegas.
Oh, they got Washington. Oh no, I repeated Cleveland.
You did?
Vegas has got the Giants. No, I can't.
Okay.
I missed something. I can't.
You're good.
read.
Don't worry about it. We'll run through this. I'll start naming games too, and we'll see if we have them all. Indy, Jacksonville. I'm gonna take Jacksonville getting their first win.
I'm gonna fix this as we go here.
Okay.
Yeah, Packers Rams. There might just be an extra space in there.
I think there is because actually
Yeah, that's the extra space.
because just gapping that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna take the Colts because Joe Flacco.
He's good. It's hard to pick against Joe Flacco. I'm not gonna lie.
Joe Flacco's still an elite backup option, even though he's a shell of a man.
So, ready? Miami, New England. The actual winner is anyone that picks the under. But if I have to pick a winner, I'm going to say Miami's sad offense is better than New England's sad defense. So the Dolphins will actually win the game. I liked that. I
Yeah.
appreciated you typing the under.
I'm gonna put that there and just see what happens when we post this tomorrow.
Okay. Who are you taking in that one, sir?
Miami's offense looked horrendous against.
Oh,
the
yeah, it did.
I didn't even watch the game. I saw that it looked messy.
I saw that Tyreek Hill is officially the second best T Hill on my team.
Second best T Hill on that team.
On my team, on my fantasy football team.
Oh, there you go.
I said that. You just weren't
You know
listening,
what?
sir.
Am I nuts for taking the Patriots there?
No, I don't think you are. I really, if you want me to be completely honest, this game might wind up being 3-0.
Probably 3. Yeah, I'll take the Pats. See what happens here.
The Ravens and the
Um,
Bengals in
Give me the
Cincinnati.
Ravens.
I'm going to take the Bengals in Cincinnati. I think they're a better team in Cincinnati than they've shown. They've lost 2 of their games already. They can't lose many more in Cincinnati. And it's
All right.
it just also Burrow looked much better. Burrow looked much better last week. Miami plus the under. Cleveland and Washington.
I'm riding the Jaden Daniels hype train until it
I'm also
doesn't
gonna.
derail.
I'm a big Browns fan, but they have not looked good, and I'm actually considering picking up a new defense in fantasy football specifically for this week because
It is hard to pick against Jaden Daniels right now, to be totally honest with you.
Buffalo and
But they got
Houston.
Nick Chubb coming back.
Back to practice. I don't think he's playing this week. I think it's one more week.
I said he's coming back, but he's on the way back. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he'll be in the game this week. Buffalo and Houston. Buffalo looked pretty bad the other night,
Yeah, they looked bad the last 2 weeks.
and they were. So I'm gonna take Houston. I feel wild saying that.
No, I'm with you.
I feel like the
take
Houston Texans have always been that kind of like meme team.
Also, Stephon Diggs' revenge game is probably very likely. Not gonna lie about that. I think
No, that's fair. Vegas and Denver. Who are you taking, sir?
So I heard Devontae Adams isn't gonna play this week, so I think everyone else that was out last week is gonna be back. No, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think they'll figure it out this week.
You know who I'm going with. All about Broncos country. I think they're figuring their stuff out. They started off a little rough. Hell, I picked them to beat Tampa, and that, looking back, that's probably one of the most wild takes I've ever had. It was right, but I still think it was wild.
Yeah.
49ers and Cards in San Francisco.
San Fran hasn't lost a beat, man. Not gonna lie.
I agree. I think I'm taking San Francisco. It's really going to come down to which offense Buckles wants. Because both offenses seem to be clicking the last couple weeks. Giants and Seahawks. Cleveland made the Giants look good.
Also, Malik Neighbors is just really good at football. So there's also that.
I'm gonna go with you know what? I tend to pick the New York teams either to both win or both lose. So I'm gonna keep riding that train.
Giants.
Yeah, it's been decently successful actually.
And I'm gonna go with Seattle. I just like their offense a bit better. I think
That's fine. Green Bay and the Rams.
I'll take Green Bay. I think they got more going on. They got more reliability in them.
I'm gonna take the Rams. I don't think they have more reliability in them, but I'm gonna take the Rams.
Do they have that dog in them?
No, they probably have, but they might have the poodle going. So like the bark might be big enough to scare you so it doesn't need to bite. Dallas versus Pittsburgh.
I already know who I'm going to pick.
Who are you picking? Because I'm actually thinking about this one.
I'm riding with the squad.
So here's the thing. Pittsburgh has shown to be pretty good. But are they frauds? I don't know.
Not yet.
I don't know.
Not yet.
More importantly, is Dallas full of frauds? Because their losses are to the Saints, who we both have agreed are pretty good at football, and
They almost lost to the Giants.
but that's a
Then they
division.
lost.
So hear me out. That's a divisional game. I think division games can get in your head a little bit
Yeah.
because you have to see them again.
And they lost to the Ravens.
You know what? I hate saying this. Give me the Cowboys. I hate saying this. I feel dirty. Like I'm gonna go take a shower after this. That's how dirty I feel saying give me the Cowboys.
Go repent your sins.
And then you know who I'm riding with for the last one.
The refs.
No. Give me the Saints, buddy.
Then I'm going to just go with
Kansas City's been
KC.
good, but I don't know. I think the Saints are.
They've gotten a lot of help. As controversial as that sounds, but
I think the Saints are the better football team.
I mean, I
Tell
think
me that I'm wrong, and that's fine.
no, I think that they got a lot of things going for them. It's just a matter of can they get it going quick enough to a point where Mahomes has to play from behind for 90% of the game.
No, that's fair. And just quickly before we wrap up here, I want to just highlight some of the NHL stuff that I'm looking forward to in this next week as we finish out the preseason and knock out the start of the regular season. Obviously, the global series between Buffalo and New Jersey. Loving that. I love when they play those. Buffalo and New Jersey are playing the global series games. Loving that. And then is this one also in Quebec? Yeah. So, and then the Kings are playing 2 games in Quebec City. They're playing the Bruins tomorrow? I want to say it's tomorrow. Yes. Tomorrow night, the Kings are playing the Bruins in Quebec City. And on Saturday, the Kings are playing the Panthers in Quebec City. Where are the Hawks and Blues playing their game? Oh, the Hawks are playing in Milwaukee with the Blues on Saturday night. And then obviously Tuesday, the NHL kicks off its season with 3 games. Hockey starts at 4:30 in the afternoon. I am so amped up. It's the Blues at Seattle, which, by the way, that game is a Tuesday at 1:30 in the afternoon. The first NHL game of the season is played at 1:30 in the afternoon local time.
That's
wild on a Tuesday.
That's unheard of.
Then the Boston Bruins have to travel to the Panthers.
That's an L right there. I'm
not talking scores. I'm not talking gambling. I'm steering as far away from that as I can. But I think that'll be a fun one. I'll definitely throw that one on because the banner raising is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And then at 10 o'clock, they play in Utah. The Hawks at
try to stay up and watch the debut
I'll
of
watch
the
at least.
Utah Hockey Club.
I'll definitely watch the beginning of the game at the very least, and then
Yeah, did you see that graphic that I sent of their arena where
yeah.
if you sit on one
Yeah,
side
I'm so mad
vertically,
about that. Like, so unreasonably mad about that. And then Vancouver, as a Canucks fan, they don't start their season till Wednesday night. So,
kind of interesting. You have that early game, and then you have. I kind of like how they have that variety.
yeah, I'm loving that. And then the following Tuesday, the 15th, I'll be at the Blue Jackets game for their first game of the year, being a partial season ticket holder for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Was Florida on your list of games?
Not that I wanted, but they made us take the first game of the year.
The first home game of the year?
Yeah, they made us take the first home game of the year for our partial plan. So that stunk a little bit, but I'm okay with it at the end of the day.
But I feel like you've done that in your experience, right? Or there's some games that you gotta throw in there?
No, I know where I've worked. Again, I've always been in minor leagues, so it's a completely different animal, and I'm well aware that minor leagues are a completely different animal. But we've never thrown in Manchester. We didn't have any forced games and packages. With the IFL, we didn't have any forced game and packages. Now, mind you, most of the season tickets I sold for the IFL, because it was only 8 games, they were full season tickets as it was. The partial plans didn't really exist because we just didn't really have them. And then, again, in the ECHL, we've never had, none of the places I've worked have had a forced game in there, and I like it. The only thing we did have is we have a school day game, and we make a point to tell our full, like, we don't let our partial people pick it, and we have our full season people, we tell them, especially here in Cincy, we tell them, hey, because of the amount of kids that come to this game, if you don't want that school day game, just we can generate a voucher for you to use throughout the season. And I like that. I think it's a really good selling point, because I know for me as a consumer, when I was looking at like the Blue Jackets packages, and they said, hey, you get to pick whatever games you want, I was like, well, that's fucking sick. Like, that's what I want. Like, I want to be able to pick like 10 games, get up to 10 games, take my girlfriend to some hockey so that she can be there, she can enjoy it. She knows that when I'm there, I'm locked in on the game, and I'm locked in on her. Like, because if I go to a game at work on a night off, I mean, maybe locked in on those two things, but like, there's a high probability that one of my clients I work with sees me and they say, hey, what's up? And of course, I'm going to talk to them, because A, I like talking to people, and B, at the end of the day, like, I'll be like, I'm not working tonight, but let me see if I can fix your problem so you don't have to bother my coworkers who were able to give me the night off, basically. So that's why that's why we have the partial plan with the Jackets. And I'm happy I'm going to get her to her first American Hockey League game this year, because we'll be going to the Springfield Thunderbirds the Friday before Thanksgiving. There will be no pod the week before Thanksgiving or a week of Thanksgiving, by the way.
No, that's fair.
Or if we do the week before Thanksgiving, it'll have to be on Monday.
We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's get through October.
That's a while away, but so that's just something I had on my forefront. But I'm very much looking forward to the NHL season. I'm hoping my favorite team, the Canucks, do well. Realistically, I think a team from the Western Conference will win the Stanley Cup, though. And that's just because it seems to bounce pretty consistently east-west, east-west.
Did you ever see that clip from the Oilers of McDavid just going nuts in the locker room?
I did. Yeah, he was.
Do you know when that's coming out? Is that like an Amazon thing, or?
I don't know if that's an Amazon thing, but I know the Idaho Steelheads out of the ECHL. Actually, they're releasing an Amazon thing like tomorrow, I want to say.
They're doing like a Hard Knocks thing, or is it kind of like a
No, it's
now
exactly.
or never type of situation? Because I have experience on that.
I'm assuming it's on their. I'm assuming they're going to promote it on their own damn Twitter, right?
You'd think, right? I forgot. I saw them in Worcester one time.
ECHL Unfiltered. First 2 episodes tonight at 10 p.m.
Surprised there isn't more media coverage like that.
I am very interested by that. I thought it was an Amazon thing. I'm fine being wrong. I am gonna definitely look it up. If it is on Amazon, I'll buy it and watch it because I think it's a good thing. I definitely read tonight. Was tonight last night actually? September 29th. So
You got a week off.
It can't. No, the 20 Monday was that was Sunday night, buddy.
I can't count. Okay.
I know. But so that's good.
And the Mets are up 3-1.
Nice.
Whereas the Padres game is about to start.
You know what my favorite account to follow on Twitter is? And we're just gonna riff here for a few more minutes. Just
Boston, the Skyline podcast.
No, well, yes, but no. The not Atlanta Thrashers Twitter.
And so I love how
It's my favorite thing. 6 hours ago, forward Ilya Kovalchuk has been injured in a preseason game and is not expected to return this season. We're gonna give that a repost. There are 3 guys that played for the Atlanta Thrashers left.
that's what I saw earlier. I wanted to bring that up, but I think it's kind of cool that you can the fact that you can still bring up the Atlanta Thrashers. And
I think it's funny that I brought it up by accident then. First of all, they had the best color scheme in hockey. I loved the kind of light blue with the red and orange. I think it was one of the best color schemes. But Zach Bogosian, Evander Kane, and Blake Wheeler, who Blake is a UFA, but the other 2 at least are on teams. But I would absolutely love for the Thrashers to come back because I think they just had a great logo, a great color scheme. Also, again, don't condone betting on hockey. I can't and I don't suggest it, but my favorite Twitter follow, honestly, is the moneypuck.com because they have the graphic of the make the playoffs, win the cup, and every team's percentage based on, other historical factors. So, like, make the playoffs is this outermost ring, second round, third round, finals win. So I like seeing, like, the percentages that they're projecting based on whatever factors they use. Having Vancouver at an 80% to make the playoffs makes me happy. Edmonton at a 93% to make the playoffs. Vegas 71%. Canes at 84%. It stinks they put the Canes and Jackets next to each other because it's really hard to tell those Reds apart. Who else has Rangers 81%? They gave the Bruins a 64%. Stars 89%. Panthers 8%. The defending Stanley Cup champions have an 83% chance to make the cup according to whatever algorithms they use. So I will be looking forward to seeing this, especially as we get closer to the playoffs and the rings start closing, because there's less teams. So that's
kind of cool to see it laid out like that, though, for real.
Oh, that's straight up my favorite graphic, and I wish that they had like someone did that for like the NFL and MLB and stuff, because I think it would look great, and they update that one like all the time. So if you're a fan of graphic design and like that type of graphic design, I highly suggest that that option for you. I think it's a good one, and that is where I want to leave it tonight. I'm looking forward to hockey starting up on Tuesday, and I think that's where we'll leave it for the tonight.
We'll probably have some reactions to the first couple nights.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll definitely you'll definitely see me really come alive watching hockey as it does its stuff, and see what happens. But on that note, Alex, as always, have a fantastic evening. And next week's our last Wednesday night episode, right?
Yes, sir.
And we'll be moving to Thursdays the following week. So there's that to look forward to, I guess.
Sir.
Have a good one, bud.
You do.
Not